there are different kinds of oscillator. And if you talk about the RC oscillator or the LC oscillator or the crystal oscillator, in a crystal oscillator you can use a quartz crystal. These are nothing but sinusoidal oscillators. So basically going to give you a sine signal. If you want to use a non-sinusoidal oscillator, you basically use something which is known as relaxation oscillator, and they can be built using op-amp or 555 diagram. But then op-amp is something which we are going to keep our focus on. So before that, we just wanted to understand what is RC phase shift oscillator, and this oscillator will definitely have a feedback circuit. Having a feedback circuit is a property of all the oscillators that we know. Okay, so in a feedback circuit it will have a feedback factor beta, and in the main circuit it will have a gain factor of A. Okay, but how we are actually making the main circuit will depend on whether we are using a transistor or we are using an op-amp. So both of them can be used for amplification. This is something which we have seen. But if you talk about an RC phase shift oscillator, we are actually using an op-amp which will actually give me a 180-degree phase shift. Now, as per the Burkeson criteria, the phase shift should be 0. That means the feedback circuit should also provide a phase shift of 180 degrees, so that the total phase shift is 360 degrees or 0 degrees. Okay? So this is something which we have seen. So the circuit should look something like this. So you can say this is basically the block diagram of the circuit, and not exactly how the circuit looks like. This is something which we are going to do today. So this RC circuit which we have in the feedback form will basically nothing but a high pass filter. Our aim is to see how does the phase shift of 180 degree happen in an RC circuit. So if you look into a typical RC circuit and if you do some calculations for finding out the phase shift, we see that the phase shift in an RC circuit is basically varying from 0 to 90 degrees. What we need to remember is that because of the loading of the previous circuit, the chances are that we may not get exactly 90 degree as the phase shift. So if we use two RC circuits, theoretically we do get 180 degree phase shift. Okay? Theoretically 180 degree phase shift is possible, but practically that does not happen, because for having a 180 degree phase shift, theoretically the resistance must be 0. So it gives the gain to be 0, and based on that we don't have that A into beta is equal to 1, so that's not possible. Okay, so we cannot have just two RC circuits for a phase shift. So one of our important question might be why does we cannot have just two RC circuits for constructing a feedback circuit having 180 degree phase shift. Okay, so this might be a good answer for this. Okay, so practically for achieving 180 degree phase shift we need more than two circuits. So if you look into three circuits, it's still possible. It will go very close to 180 degree, 60 degree, 60 degree, 60 degree. Fine. What is our aim? Our aim is to have sustained oscillation. The sustained oscillation, it should be exactly 180 degree. If it is slightly less, oscillation will slowly drop off. Okay. So the thing is, if we look into any practical design of an RC oscillator, they are basically using 4 stages. Okay? But nevertheless, whatever understanding we are going to have now is going to be based on, we are going to have it based on 3 circuits. Okay, so let's just try to look into this in terms of 3 circuits. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we are going to just look into the RC phase shift oscillator using op-amp. Let's draw the circuit first. Okay, let's draw the circuit first. So the topic for today is RC phase shift oscillator. Okay, using op-amp. We are going to use an op-amp to actually have a RC phase shift oscillator. As always, the diagram is very important. Okay, so let's try to draw this. Okay, so I will just tell you this, that this topic is quite large. Okay, basically forms a descriptive question. So we're just going to do it. But then let's just draw this RC phase shift oscillator. Okay, we are going to draw the entire circuit, and believe me, this circuit is not going to be very difficult. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, so what we usually have is, first we are going to just draw the op-amp, and the input of the op-amp will be towards the inverted terminal, because we are offering a 180 degree phase shift. While we are using an inverting terminal, because the feedback circuit will provide me a phase shift. So I need to have zero phase shift. So definitely the main circuit using the op amp should also have a phase shift. Okay. So there, what we are going to have is this is the feedback circuit. So you can draw it in any way. You can actually draw it here. Okay. And let me just draw three capacitors here. Okay. We're going to take a three-stage system, not a four-stage system. Although practically, as I said, four-stage system is more preferable. So let me just draw this three-stage system. Okay. We're going to get the output from here, and this is more or less the important part of this. Okay. Then if you're talking about op amp, you are going to have a feedback part. Okay, here also. That is how an op amp works. If you don't remember, you need to just refer to the previous lecture. Okay. And then this is the non-inverting terminal, that is the plus section. So I'll just try to earth this. Just try to earth this. And let's just complete the circuit by drawing the different parts here. Okay. The first thing is, let's draw the resistors here. Okay. So you have got one resistor here. Okay. You have got one resistor here. Okay. And here also it's an RC circuit, so you're basically going to have a resistor. And we can actually earth that. Okay. So here also the same. We are going to have this circuit. So let's just keep drawing this. Okay. So we have got three resistors, so we have got three RC circuits here, and this value should remain the same. This is also criteria that all of the capacitors must be equal. Okay, so this is C, this is R, this is R, this is R. This is the point across which we can actually have the output. So this is V out. Okay. So you see, the circuit is not complicated to remember. I think you should be able to do it. Okay. This is R1, and this is your feedback resistor. So I'll just put it as RF. And this is your negative terminal. This is your positive terminal. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Okay. That's the circuit that we actually need to have. Okay. So this is the circuit that we have. And let's just divide this circuit into two parts now. Okay. Maybe I can take a different color. Okay. So this is your first part. Okay. So in this first part, it will actually have its own phase shift. So this is your first part. Okay. And then this is your second part. So this is your feedback circuit. So if you just look into that diagram, block diagram that we have written before, more or less this. That's not the circuit, that is the block diagram. This is the feedback circuit. Okay. So in this particular circuit, okay, technically you should have a phase angle of 180 degree. Okay. That's the first point. And the gain, that is A, is going to be 29. We are going to see why it is 29. So, it's a value which I directly put in, but we need to know why it is that. And here this should also offer a phase angle of 180 degrees. Okay. And here the value of beta, okay, will be equal to 1 divided by 20. Okay. And this is quite logical, because the Pearson criteria says that A into beta should be equal to 1. Okay. And what we see here is on the left hand side, if this is 29 into 1 divided by 29, which is equal to 1. So this is actually fulfilling that criteria. Okay. And this is actually the condition for this. Okay. And that is why we are going to do it in this way. So what we are going to do now is going to explain this. Okay. And I think you can do it. So this circuit you have to please remember. Okay. This is also forming a major part. So if I am asking a question and ask the phase shift oscillator, you have to draw this circuit and then probably do it. Okay. So if so it will depend. See, if beta is 4, there are 4 capacitors here, 4 CR resistors, the beta might be different. Okay. So just see if it's different or not. Okay. But before that, if beta is equal to 1 by 29, then A is equal to 29. which you already know. Okay. So the loop gain is basically, the circuit that we have, the feedback circuit that we have is usually a kind of frequency selector. So if you remember when we talked about the RC oscillator, we said the feedback circuit will actually, not the, in general the oscillators, the feedback circuit should actually select a particular frequency and amplify that. So it is basically acting as a frequency selector. Okay. So that means if we are talking about the loop gain, okay, it is basically provided at one particular frequency. Okay. And which is that frequency? The frequency at which the overall phase shift is zero. For all the frequency, phase shift might not be zero. Okay. So basically the frequency at which the overall phase shift. Okay. So we have to look into this particular condition, which is important. Okay. And so how many stages do we have here? If we have basically 3 stages, okay, and depending on this number of stages, okay, we can have that frequency. The question is, what will be that frequency? Okay, so the question is, what is going to be this particular frequency? And this is something which we are going to derive. Okay, so what we do now is we are going to just look into this factor. Okay, with this particular term. Okay, and here I'd say that depending, okay, depending on the number of stages, okay, RC stages. Which stage are we talking about? RC stages. So let's say we have got n stages. It might be 3, it might be 4. Okay, this frequency, okay, will be let me write it down here. Frequency will be 1 divided by 2 pi RC root over 2 times n. Okay, 2 times n. So we have it, if we basically have got 3 stages, okay, we are going to derive it now. Okay, if we are going to have 3 stages, f is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi, okay, RC root over 6. Okay, question is how, and this is what we are going to do now. Okay, so just try to derive it. Let's see if we can derive it today. Okay. So thing that we're going to now do now is derive f is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi RC root over 6. And so now if I just keep typing, I cannot type because there are a lot of equations that we basically do. Okay. But before that, I will just draw the circuit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably go to the next slide. Okay. Try to make it a bit easy. Okay. So let's take a fresh page here. So this is our aim right now. Okay. So this is our aim right now. And before that, let's just draw the circuit. We are just drawing the RC circuit. We don't need to draw the top-end part. Okay. It's not needed right now. So we have some current flowing across the circuit. Okay. We have got the capacitors here. Just going to do it. Okay. We are going to use the Ohm's law, the current at a particular node and all those things. Okay. And basic electronics, whatever we learned. So to use that to find out this. Okay. So this is there. And then this is your final result. So we will have a resistor here. Okay. We're going to have a resistor here. We're just going to take it 3 stage and we're just going to derive divided by root 6. Okay, that part we are going to do. We have a resistor here. Okay. So let me just mark some points here, important points. Okay. So let me just show this. This is your resistor. Okay. Out. Okay. And then we have this. Like this, and then we will have one more, and then I like this. Okay, and let's just mark some points here. Okay, so you have got this first part. Okay, and let's say you have the input voltage from here, P in, and this is my current I1. Okay, and then this is your capacitor. Okay, and there are the three nodes here. All of them will have different voltages. This is V1. You have to remember that this voltage is V in, and because of the capacitor, there will be a voltage drop, and that will be actually nothing but V1. Okay, and this is my resistor. This is again C. Okay, and in this particular section, we have the current flowing, which is I2. Okay, and this is my second node. And here also there will be a voltage drop, so this will be a different voltage. This will be V2. The capacitor is going to add to the voltage drops. Okay, this is the second circuit. At this particular point, we are going to have the output here. This is the V0. So this is R, okay, and this is again the capacitor C. Okay, and if this is I1, this is I2. A different current will flow here, which is I3. Okay, so let's just try to remember these three. This image, okay, and from this image we are going to derive this relation. This derivation is actually quite long. Okay, so let's see how much we can do today. Okay, so at node, okay, just be with me and try to understand what exactly we're doing. At node V2, see this is V2. Okay, we are coming from this side to this side. Okay, we are trying to do our derivations from in this particular direction. So at node V2, okay. So whatever is the voltage here minus the voltage here, okay, so there will be a drop of voltage. So basically if you want to find out V2, okay, you basically have the voltage V0 on one side, okay, and on the other side we basically have a voltage drop. So voltage drop, you know, this is a capacitor and it will have that imaginary quantity, so I'll write it down as minus J. What is the current flowing is nothing but I3, okay, and minus the voltage drop I3, and if you multiply I3 with the reactance, you will get the voltage. So the reactance for the capacitor is Xc. So this is the voltage drop that we have. Okay, and I think you don't need to reiterate this. Xc is equal to 1 divided by omega c, which you already know, and also something which you know is minus J can be written as plus of 1 divided by J, because J is imaginary. Okay, so we can write it down in this form. Okay, so what we can do now is, okay, one more point that you should remember here is V naught. Okay, V naught. This is your R, and this is I3. So that means the current flowing across this is also I3. Okay, this is also I3. The voltage is equal to IR. So this is I3 into R. Okay, so this is the initial analysis. So I3 can be written as V0 divided by R. So you have to just practice this. Okay, it's very important. So let's just try to replace these values here. So let me write down this. This is equal to minus J can be written as 1 by J. Okay, 1 by J omega C. I think this is clear. So what you can write it down here is 1 divided by J omega C. Okay, this is 1 part. Minus J and X we have taken out. I3. I3 is V0 by R. So you simply write it down as V0 divided by R plus V0. Okay, so we have simplified this, and what we can do now is take V0 common, but then let's take it later, and we will mark this as equation 1. So we'll be having a lot of equations. Okay, so let's just try to remember all of them, or try to write it down. If you write it down in your notes, it will be more easy for you. Now what we are going to do is we are going to apply, okay, KCL. So we are going to apply KCL. So applying KCL. KCL, I hope you remember, Kirchhoff's current law, right? At node V2. At V2. These are all nodes, okay? So remember Kirchhoff's current law. If you have a current here, if it comes in or goes out, you can take a plus or a minus. Okay, so if the current here is, this is, let's say I1, this is your I2. The current at this particular point will be nothing but I2 minus I1 or I1 minus I2, whichever convention we follow. So what we do is we are going to take the Kirchhoff's current law at this particular point, which is V2. Okay? If we do that, we can actually find out what is I2. So you see, this is your I2, which is actually coming in. So I will take this as one direction, and the other two current that we have is this. This is one direction, and this is one direction. So this is also I2. Okay. So what we have here is, sorry, not I2, V2. Okay. Let's say we are having a that's the final current. This is not the final current here. Yeah. So what is the current flowing across R can be written as V2 divided by R. That's the current across this. Okay, this is the direction of the current. Plus we have I3 plus I3. Please remember, this is the final current here. So this I3 is the same. It's not getting divided. Although I've shown it, but the output is here. So I3 is not getting divided. So this is the final current. But at this particular point, I2 is getting divided. One part of current is flowing across this, and I3 is flowing across this. So at this particular point, this is nothing but V2 divided by R. That's the current. So that's the Kirchhoff's current law that we are using, and we can actually mark this as equation 2. Okay. So here what we can do is we can find out the current. So what we will do is we will replace V2 in V2. So V2 we have already found out here. This is your V2, and we are going to just replace it here in I2. Okay. So let's just try replacing it here. So what we do is I2 is equal to V0 divided by R. Okay. This V0 divided by R. Okay. And I've just simplified it. Okay. You can just check it once. And within bracket it will be nothing but 1 plus 1 divided by j omega CR plus V0 divided by R. V0 divided by R. So this V0 divided by R is I3. Okay, I think this is clear. This I3 is V0 by R. So we placed it here, and on this side it is V2 divided by R. Okay. So in place of V2, I can just take V0 common here. So this will be V0 divided by R. Within bracket, it will be 1 by j omega CR. So 1 by j omega CR. And we have 1 left. So to simplify this, you should actually get this equation. Okay. And you can actually simplify this further. Okay. We can simplify this further. And what you can do is you can combine this into this. So if you do that, you can just write it down as V0 divided by R, and within bracket it will be 2 of these terms are there divided by j omega CR. Okay, and let's mark this as equation 3. Okay, so this is I2. Okay, so see, we are getting a lot of equations, so we have to just keep replacing and keep doing the sum. Okay, we used to do eventually it will be coming out. So now let's just go to the next node now. Okay, and before going to the next node, I think we can just copy this. Okay. Okay, what can you get copied here? Okay. So if I just take this up, okay, we are going to use the next node now. Okay, we're going to use the next node, and then maybe I can just copy it and copy it for the next slide also. Okay, if you don't have references, it becomes a bit difficult. Okay. Okay. So now we have done away with V2. Okay, we are going to do the next node now. The next node, let's check. So at node V1 now, okay, so we have got 3 equations, and now we are going to talk about that node V1. Okay, at node V1. So V1, what will be the result here? V1 A is equal to V2. So V1 is this. So we do have V2 here because the voltage is V2, and we have a drop because of this. We have a drop because of this. So we will just write down minus. We can write down, or we can directly write down 1 by J. Okay, plus of 1 by J. So I'll directly write it down as I2 divided by J omega C. Okay, should not be confused here. This is I2, that is the current that is flowing across this C, and there is a minus J, so I'll just take it at the denominator, so it is 1 by J, and then the reactance offered by this capacitor is Xc, which is 1 by omega C. So I'm just writing this down directly. Okay, and then what we have is, we can actually write it down, and V1 is equal to, now V2 we have already derived. Okay, V2 we have already had in our equation 1. Okay, and there what we had was, we can actually take out the V naught common, that particular relation. I'll just get back to that and show it to you. 1 plus 1 divided by J omega C hash. That's my V2. Okay, let me just get back to that V2 there. That's our equation 1. Okay? If I just take V naught common, it will be 1 divided by J omega CR plus 1. Okay, so I'm just writing that down. So we have this plus, now everything is getting replaced here. I2. So I2 was actually nothing but V naught divided by R. Okay. If you're writing it down, I think you already have it. Divided into 2 plus 1 divided by J omega C R. That was one I2. Okay. And then of course I have this 1 divided by J omega C into 1 divided by J omega C. Okay. So we have this. Now what we can do is, we can actually try simplifying this. Okay, we can actually try to simplify this, and if we simplify this, we can simply write it down as V1, okay, is equal to V0. So we can take V0 common. This is V0, this is V0. So we can just take V0 common, and this would be nothing but 1 plus 3. So I would suggest to all of you, please check it. Okay, I hope I have done it correctly. But if I do so many steps, it's very difficult to explain everything. If you simplify it, you'll get this relation. Okay, minus 1 divided by, there is a J and a J. If you take J square, that will be minus 1. Okay, so you can take that. Omega square, J square, R square. Okay, that's it. That's your V1. Okay, so there are 3 terms here, and this is equation 4. This is equation 4. Okay, and then what we are going to do is, we are going to apply KCL at V1. So it's the same logic. First we actually find out what is the voltage drop at V2, and then find out KCL, use KCL and find out current. Here we find out what is the voltage drop at V1, and now we are going to again use KCL. So again the same logic, applying KCL at V1. Okay, I strongly suggest all of you to please practice it. Okay, so let's see what happens if I apply KCL at 1. So we will have here current is I1. Okay, this is the I1 current that is coming in. Okay, and here there is the voltage drop. Okay, and there is the current change. So you can just simply write it down as V1 divided by R. Okay, all the resistance are equal. So this is V1 divided by R plus I2 is going out. So it's out. So that's your application of KCL. Okay, and now I think you can guess easily what we are going to do next. We are just going to replace what is V1 and so on. Okay, so if we just replace V1, what we are going to get is this. So V1 divided by R. In place of V1, I have got V0 into this, so I'll take V0 out. We have it, and divided by R. This R is this R. Okay, this R is this R. Okay, and then within bracket whatever we have the 1 plus A divided by J omega CR, okay, minus 1 divided by omega square C square R square. So we have one part of the equation plus I2. Okay, so what was our I2? To do that, okay, we'll see that everything is following a sequence here. So if you just remember this, I2 was this. Okay, so we're going to replace it. So plus I2, and I2 is V0 divided by r, okay, and 2 plus 1 divided by j omega c. Okay, that's my answer. Done. Okay, so that this can be further simplified. Okay, and maybe I can take the next page and then I will write down the equation. Okay, so what we have finally is this equation. If we just try to simplify this, maybe I can just write down simplify. Simplifying, we have I1 is equal to V0 divided by R. Okay, you can do it on your own. V plus, all of them will have three terms. Okay, if you remember that basic thumb rule, I think it will be more easy for you during the exam. Omega CR minus 1 divided by omega square C square R square. If you just simplify this, you should get this, and that's our equation. Okay. So now we have got 5 equations. Okay. Next. Now what we do is we are actually going to do it at the beginning of the terminal. Okay. So now V in, which is the input, okay, is equal to nothing but V1, and then there is a voltage drop because of this. Okay. So we are going to take it to be plus I1 divided by J omega C. Okay. It's the same logic here. Okay. And then you can just replace your V1. Okay. You can replace your I1 from here. Okay. And then this is something which I leave it to you. Okay. I really like you to do it. Okay. V in, to do it, V not. Final answer. I'm just writing down the final answer after replacing V1 and I1. Okay. This would be 1 plus 6 divided by J omega CR. Okay. Minus 5 divided by omega square E square R square. Okay. Minus 1 divided by J omega cubed C cubed R cubed. So this is what you should get. Okay. And we can just mark this as equation 6. So you get in total 6 equations. Okay. And all of these equations should be used. Okay. And you know, the output voltage that we are talking about, this is your input voltage, right? And the output voltage will basically have only the real part. So whatever is there with J, I can just remove it because the voltage will be actually having a real component. Okay? So based on this, we can actually do a calculation. So the output voltage, okay, will have real part. Real part. The only real part you can say. We won't be having any imaginary part. Okay. So what is our real part? We already know it, right? So what you can say is, therefore, the imaginary part should be 0. Okay. And what is our imaginary part? The imaginary part is 6 divided by omega CR. Mind it, we are actually looking for frequency. So 6 divided by omega CR is the imaginary part, minus 1 divided by omega cubed E cubed R cubed must be equal to 0 because that's the imaginary part. The imaginary part should not exist, so that should be 0. And what you can do is you can take omega CR common, and then you multiply it with 0. But you are left out with is omega square C square R square, okay, is equal to 1 by 6. Okay, so no, you take it on one side and do the calculation and do it accordingly to get this. Okay, so I think it's quite simple now, and we are slowly getting towards that. So what you can say is that omega is equal to 1 divided by root over 6 into 1 divided by RC. Okay, so we have got one part, and you know what is omega? Omega is nothing but 2 pi f. Okay, so omega is equal to 2 pi f. That's the angular frequency. We are relating it with the linear frequency. So you can simply say that f is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi RC root over 6. and that's the frequency we are talking about. This is the frequency, and this is the derivation. So it's quite a descriptive derivation. Okay. Now the question is, how can it be 1 divided by 29? Okay, that particular part is we are going to do. So f is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi e to the 6 is something which I found out. Okay. So let me just write down the other values here. Okay, so that means the real imaginary part is 0. So that means we are left out with the real part. Okay, and the real part is nothing but v naught into 1 minus, we'll just leave the imaginary part, 5 divided by omega square c square r square. Okay, the real part. So, the real part. So please remember this, that we have actually used the imaginary part to find out the frequency. So that means that this particular frequency, the imaginary part will vanish. So that means that is the frequency that we are looking for. Okay. So the real part is this. Okay, V in, or we can just further simplify this. Okay. If we further simplify this, what we can do is V in, okay, is equal to V naught, to the bracket, and this is 1 minus 5, and this is omega square, right? So if you remember from the previous slide, okay, our omega was 1 by root 6 by 1 by r3, so omega square will be 1 by 6 r square c square. Okay, we'll just go replace it here. Okay, so it will be 1 divided by 6 r square c square. This is your omega, and we already have r square c square here. So just write down this is r square c square. So this part and this part will get cancelled. So it simply has v naught into 1 minus, this goes on top side. So you basically can do the calculation. This will be 1 minus 50. This part is not there. We need to. Part is not there, so this will be 1 minus 30. So this is 29 v naught. And what is beta? Beta is basically nothing but the ratio between the output and the input. Okay, we already know it. So what we can do is we can write it down now. Sorry, this is minus 1 minus 30, right? V naught minus V in is equal to minus of 1 divided by 20. Okay. So this is very interesting because this will actually tell you that this RC circuit, okay, hence RC circuit, okay, provides an attenuation. So it's 1 divided by 29. So there is some loss of signal that is happening. Provides an attenuation. Of 1 by 29. Okay, and your negative sign there. This will also indicate something. Okay, indicates what 180 degree phase shift. Okay, so this will actually indicate here 180 degree. Very important. Phase shift. Okay. So this is what we have been deriving. Okay. So if I just go back to whatever we have learned today, we have seen that this is actually the RC phase shift oscillator, and the value of beta should be 1 divided by 29. That means V out divided by V in. Okay, and this is something which we have already found out. Okay, and based on this, A must be 29, else we cannot say that the Gaussian criteria is satisfied. Okay, so the main idea of today's class was to find out these values and also find out the frequency for our three-state system. So if you consider a three-state system, the frequency is this. I can't just say this, I have to derive it. So this is what we have derived. Okay. So you have to draw this circuit and remember your basic idea of what is the voltage drop at V2, V1 and Vin. Okay. And after every voltage drop calculation, you have to use the Kirchhoff's current law and find out what is the current that will be. So I'm sure the concept is clear, but then you need to practice it. If you do practice it, you will be able to